Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone. How are you all doing and how are you all finding December? So, this is what I read in November, and hand on heart, out of the whole of the year so far, I can honestly say that November has been the most proactive reading month for me for a long while. It feels like it's a month where I've read more than I've read in a long while in a month and got the same from the books. So, the first book I read was a charity shop one. I got this in Scotland, and this is called The Villa by Ruth Kelly. And 10 contestants, 7 days, one prize to die for. So, we have the protagonist who is called, let me see, reporter Laura, is an undercover journalist that goes into this fly on the wall fly on the wall, I don't know, television series where it's very much like Love Island. And it's all of these women, equal amount of men, going in to find love. I think there's something in it anyway. And it's very dark. Every single one that goes into this house is very, very troubled. And as this story unravels, it's it's a strange one. I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, that's it. Nine Perfect Strangers. I've not read the book. I think I've got the book on Kindle, but I've seen a little bit of the TV program, and it's that kind of vibe where you know that there's something just not quite. What did you know? Something just not quite right. I really enjoyed it. It's a fast-paced one. You read it from different perspectives. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Can highly recommend it. The next one I read is called Bluebeard's Castle by Anna Biller. I really enjoyed this. I think I got this as a Christmas gift. I think a couple of Christmases ago, or was it last Christmas? But anyway, it was one I saw recommended on YouTube, and I've fallen out with BookTube, and I've stopped following a lot of people that I did used to follow because I started to realise that they were recommending books that they'd been given from publishers, and it just got really, is the word disingenious? I don't know what the word is anyway. Um, when you come to this channel, the only gifts of books I get are from family or followers. There's no publishers gift me books at the time of filming. And if there was, I'd make it clear. And that I read books that I like. Up until this point, I've been reading a lot of recommendations from YouTube, but I'm starting to bring in the ones that really lift me and rebirth my enjoyment of reading. You know full well that I'm not going to sit here and say I loved the latest literary fiction when I really didn't. And I felt that that's been happening a lot in BookTube. So I was like, I really don't want to read this. I loved the cover. It was like 1970s gothic romance. Um, but I was like, oh. Anyway, I came back from Haworth, or we came back from Haworth, and I just wanted a little bit of gothicness. And I thought, I'll give it a try, I'll give it a whirl. Now, just a minute. Take a moment for these end pages. I really love these. Look at that. Yes. And this one here as well. I loved that. That is very much like my mum's wedding dress. And that was very much like her bouquet. Um, and that, I think, was very much like the flowers in her hair. Possibly the hair like that, but a bit shorter, a bit browner, rather than red. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was dark, it was edgy, it was exploring the themes in Wuthering Heights, in Rebecca, in Jane Eyre, in all of it. It was forcing you to look at it from so many different angles. Let me get these. I don't like wearing it when I'm filming because I get owl effect. But anyway, where is it? It's here. When a successful British mystery writer, Judith Moore, meets Gavin, a handsome and charming baron, at a birthday party on the Cornish coast, his love transforms her from a bitter, lonely young woman into a romance heroine overnight. After a whirlwind romance, she's taken to his castle. It's very much like all of the literature we've been fed as women, many of which I enjoy, you enjoy, we know that. But it opens your eyes to it. I really, really enjoyed it. Um, because it was so different as well. Um, but it also shows us how, as women, we are really influenced by all of this. I remember growing up in the noughties as a single woman in the noughties and having Bridget Jones rammed down our throats and the damage that that could actually do. Because when you look back at Bridget Jones, it was actually quite shit what it was portraying. And I think it really should have just stayed as a book. Interesting what she did and very clever, but how society got hold of it and fed it, when you actually look back at like Mark Darcy and how he treated her and Daniel Cleaver, and this kind of does the same with, what is it, Lord Rochester? Is it Lord Rochester? You should know that, Claire. Rochester, whatever his name was. And Heathcliff, and we don't even get his name, do we? What's his name in Rebecca? Mr. De Winter. And you end up looking at them and going, oh my God, 90s, 70s gothic romance that were, thrown down our throats. That was, that tea that was quite unhealthy. The energies are all over the place because we've just had Mercury retrograde and it's just still a little bit like. Then I came to this one, The Pact, which I think I got from a Cornish charity shop. I enjoyed this, but there were parts of it that was like parts of it that felt it didn't really need to be there. Some of it felt as though it was being dragged out. The ending, I didn't like the ending. I got to the ending, I was like, it was like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it's a nice quick read, don't get me wrong. So basically, it's the tech world, the tech world. So it's like Silicon Valley, but it's in San Francisco, the equivalent of it, and it's a tech startup. Wait a minute, sorry. God, maybe I should do these one book at a time throughout the month like I was going to do. Um, Freya starts her job at a tech place for social media. And when she gets there, it's the best job ever. It's the best boss ever. It's the equivalent of working with Stephen Bartlett, yeah, in his building, okay? But very slowly, she starts to see the other side of it. She falls in love with one of the work colleagues, and that starts to unravel as well. Another work colleague, it's the very fact I don't even know the names, this is everything you need to know. Another work colleague who was the ex-girlfriend to the work colleague that she starts to date turns against her, and it gets really nasty. It's a psychological thriller, it's suspense, it's different opinions, but it just ends in a really and it's a twist at the end, but I don't know if it needed it or if it could have been done a different way to make it more. It just, when I read it, I just went, oh, you know what I mean? That was my feeling. Anyway, so that's three so far, and then this one, The Last Song of Winter by Lulu Taylor, which again was a charity shop book from Cornwall. First time reading this author. I love this. At first, I was like, oh, it felt a bit slow to get into. Um, but I thought I'll stick with it. And when I actually went onto her social medias, etc., and did a bit of research about her, one of the things she is a storyteller. Her books are political. God, they're not trying to prove something. They're not trying to be complicated. They're just good old-fashioned stories. And if you like good old-fashioned stories with the past and the present on all those different timelines weaved in, like Kate Morton type stuff, is Rachel Hoare another one, I think? I'm not sure, can't remember the names, but that type of thing, you will love these. And from what I've seen, she's got other books. I think she's got three more, the stickers over it, so I can't see it. But it was only £1 from a charity shop. I mean, it's got a well-loved spine. I always think that's a well-loved spine. People think that that's a horrible sign in a book, but I actually quite kind of like that. Do you know what I mean? I like that. I like to see a bent spine. It's been loved. It's been read. It's been enjoyed. It's not been read like that where they're not trying to, you know what I mean? Um, yes, I enjoyed it. It does take a while to get used to and get into it because it's a very drawn out, but it's worth sticking with. And I will say as well that this one is the same. The first bit of this book, right, I was like, what is going on here? It was all over the place, but you kind of understand why it is all over the place. And again, stick with it because this was a belter. It really was a belter. Um, it just, yeah, back to this, it just told you and showed you how damaged we can be from female literature of the past. This one, I loved it for its simplicity. It's nice, easy story, easy on the soul, doesn't ask anything from you apart from read me and enjoy me. And I loved it. And I think this one would be a good one to read over the Christmas holidays. Um, this one a good one to read at autumn, and the other two you can read when you want. Anyway, the next book I read was called, or is, I just keep saying was, is called The Windsor Legacy, A Royal Dynasty of Secret Scandal and Survival, by Robert Jobson. Now, it was Gary that saw this advertising, Gary that told me about it. Um, what is going on at the minute with these books where very much like all the Channel 4 documentaries that are out there that have been out there for quite some time, where it catchy headlines, it gets you in, but it's nothing new. There's really nothing new in this, apart from the odd sprinkling of something that still leaves you thinking, what? It just reminded me of why I stopped watching all those Royal documentaries, why I stepped away from Royal books, because this is what you get, where it's almost like you think, are you hinting at something here? But you don't want to lose your place at the table, so you're not going to go into it. Um, yeah, it was okay. It's a Royal book, and I've read it. Um, briefly touches on the Mountbatten stuff, which is it's not starting to come up for some people. Some people have been aware of it for years. But yeah, I wasn't keen to be honest. But anyway, we move on and we get over things. The next book that I did enjoy was called again. You see how I did it again? It's called The Covent Garden Ladies by Hayley Rubenhold. Again, I've had this on my shelf a while, saw it on BookTube. Was put off with all the shitty reviews on BookTube, so I was scared to read these books that I've been seeing on BookTube. I enjoyed it. Now, this book was first written in 2012. And in it, she puts an introduction from now, where she says she would love the opportunity to rewrite this with today's perspective in her mind. Because for although this book is a really good book, basically, have you seen the series Harlots on TV about the sex workers from Georgia and England in Covent Garden? Well, that was based on the stories within this book. So this focuses on three main people, two male pimps and a female pimp, all very famous in this history, and how they got to be who they were, why they did what they did, and what happened to them. And she says she wished if she could rewrite this book, she could do it more from the perspective of the women. But back when she was in 2012, she didn't think like that. Um, and she says about the use of the word prostitute all of the time. She apologized for that because she acknowledges that now they call it sex worker rather than prostitute. And when you read it, you understand why. You think actually, yeah. After watching Harlots, I would have loved more from the female perspective of this. But you understand, and you're thankful for the author saying what she says, that she wishes she could rewrite it. Um, Fascinating book. Interesting. Some parts there's a little bit of an information overload, and it can be a little bit too much where it can lose you. But if you stick with that and just accept it for what it is, it's fascinating about life in Covent Garden in Georgian England, for the poor, for the elite, for sex workers that were children, women, young men, um, families selling daughters, poor families, rich families selling daughters. And in it, there is the Epstein list of its day. Because this is a whole body of work that's been done by historians of the men that visited Covent Garden for favours from women, men, and children. Okay. And it's all like the royal family members are on this list, some of the Spencer families on this list, like literally all of the big names in aristocratic groups and the rich England, all the old guard and all of that. Let me show you. It's they're all in here. It's like the Epstein list of its day. Where is it? Yeah, well, just a list of the Covent Garden lovers. Like she says, she wouldn't call it the Covent Garden lovers now, but here we go. It starts, right? They're all on here. Justice, Sir, I mean, there's loads of them. Richard Barry, 7th Earl of Barrymore. Then it goes on here. These are all men, rich men, wealthy men, powerful men, lords, earls, His Royal Highness Prince Ernest, Duke of Cumberland, His Royal Highness Prince Henry Frederick, Duke of Cumberland, His Royal Highness Prince William Augustus, Duke of Cumberland, the Honourable John Damer. They're all on here, nearly every one of them. Another, this is it, this is a list. All of these men were going into Covent Garden for the use of the sex workers, whether they were female, children, or men. And there's evidence of this, okay? Viscount Maynards, the Macduffs, they're all here. They're just and then it goes on like that. And then it goes and it talks about how children were being kidnapped off the streets of London, for the rich, for the aristocracy. And that I will warn you, when you read that bit, it hurts you in so many ways when you actually read about these people that went out into areas where they knew were overcrowded, slummy areas where these children wouldn't have been watched because their parents had so much going on. And in some cases, these children were sold because the parents manipulated with golden bags and all of that. Very, very, very sad. And I think, especially if you're in the UK, I think we need to read and be aware of this. This is just a small corner of London. It's a small corner of the United Kingdom. There would have been so much more of this going on, and there'll be so much more to that list than we even know. Anyway, and then I jumped into the deep end. I finished the month with 1984 by George Orwell. Now, what a book. I've been wanting to read this for a while, and it's going to be tied in with some work that's coming in on one of my channels in this month, depending on when you watch this video, okay? But I've been scared of it because I don't like dystopian fiction. When I read a book, what was it, Hunger Games and things like that I struggled with. I just got to a point, I did attempt the Hunger Games, but I just found it too disturbing and too realistic. So I've heard about this George Orwell 1984, and I've been like scared shitless of it. But all will be explained in another video of what brought me to read this. What a book. I mean, where do you even start with this book? This was a book written before now. I mean, the book was written, let me see, 1930s, 1940s, 1949, 1949. He talks about AI. He talks about televisions. He talks about social media. He talks about the manipulation. He talks about both parties being on the same side. I've seen examples of that as well. He talks about the losing of civil liberties. He talks about um, causing something that causes great fear in people and then coming in afterwards with changes. Because once you've scared somebody, it's all about the psychology. Once you've scared somebody, it leaves them vulnerable to coming and bring it. And I kept throughout the whole of this book going, what year was this written in? Because literally, it's almost like he's time travelled, like he's received a download of information as a warning. It would be interesting to see what was happening in 1984, actually. We're going to be doing more of this in Claire Thackeray soon, but and what was going on in 1994 and what was going on in 2004 and then 2014 and 2024. Um, for those, because I know there's a couple of you have said we've had this conversation in sessions about 1984, and you've said like me, you're scared of it in a way. I would say don't be. I read that quite quickly because of some work that needs to be done. But if I was going to read it again, just read it a page a day, or a page a week. But I really think we should be reading it, and I think especially in America, because it's just bizarre. It's like honestly, it's now he's talking about civil liberties going, control, AI that wasn't even. I mean, there's a bit in it where he talks about, oh, we can't even write anymore. We've got to write what they tell us to write. So if you want to write a letter, it's got to be a postcard, and these postcards already have sentences on them. So, for example, you'd get a postcard, and if the sentence isn't there, you can't write. You can't because you can't write yourself. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be like, right, today I had a cup of tea. Oh, I can have that. So you'd circle today I had a cup of tea. So it's all there. There's something very similar on YouTube at the minute in the comment section to comment back. And like somebody will say, I loved that video, Claire, and there'll be three things you can say back. Now, I have been using them sometimes and tweaking them, but I'm going to be more mindful of them because at what extent does that continue to take over your life? And yeah, very fascinating. And about how people can be taken into fear and literally stand on each other. Remember the toilet roll gate in COVID and everything else that came with that? Just really makes you think, I should hold this up so people can see it. Um, Fascinating man. I remember reading Animal Farm at school, and I liked Animal Farm. Um, so yeah, what do I think? So many books I read. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7 books. And there's some quite in-depth books there. Like that was an in-depth book. That was an in-depth book. That was just a joke. It did my head in. That was quite in-depth. Oh God, this was quite in-depth. And these two were just, yeah, flick through them, get through them, that kind of book, yeah. So I have had a week off during November. But still, it just reminded me of what reading was like. For although there's some books that I'm a bit like meh, I still enjoyed them. I did enjoy the Royal Book. It's just would I recommend it? Probably not. If you've got it, you'll enjoy it, but you won't be, you're not gonna. I don't think you'll find out much that you don't already know or that you've not heard on the grapevine. And even these were good. For although that ending was a bit weird, and this was a bit out there, they were good. They were enjoyable. They were books that you could get through quite quickly. Anyway, overall, I've had a really good month for that. Long may it continue. Have you read any of those? What did you think? Have you read 1984? What did you find? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did it scare the shit out of you? Yes. Now it's on to the Christmas reading. I wonder what Christmas reads will be coming to the table in January, the beginning of January, when we start wrapping up December's reads. Yes, so if you've liked this video and you want to leave a comment but not sure what to put, leave me a castle emoji for this book. And I'm sorry if it feels a bit, like I said, the Mercury retrograde energies are still around us, affecting everything, communication, speech, brain. Thanks. Bye.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish